Owl Nation, what is going on? We are back for another episode here on the Night Owls, the number one FAU podcast. First off, I don't say this a lot, but I want to tell everyone, if you are watching, please subscribe. We do produce daily content here on the Night Owls for the most part. Yes, we took a bit of a break, but we are trying to produce as much content as possible for Owl Nation, for Owl fans, so that you guys can stay up to date and follow all of the news and breaking news that we are unfolding and covering right here on the Night Owl. So please make sure to subscribe. It helps a lot. We are on the grind. And man, we have a lot to break down today. Our QB1 responded to a hater. I absolutely love this. This makes the whole, part of this X app so much better because you get to see a lot of banter, and Caden did the right thing here. And we're going to break all of that down. We're going to talk all about it. But first off, I want to clap it up again to Caden Veltkamp for deciding to stay. You guys don't understand how this really unfolded. He told his agent in October that he wanted to stay, come back here. And loyalty is something we don't see in college athletics in the modern era. A lot of players are going to want to go to the best deal, the school that's offering them the most money. And Caden Veltkamp put all of that aside and was loyal to FAU, wanted to develop here, coming back for one last ride. And guys, you don't understand how many places, how many other schools he could have went to. He could have went to a plethora of Power 4 schools. He could have went to a lot of places where he would make more money. And he could have done that 2 years in a row. After that Western Kentucky season where he was Conference Player of the Year, he definitely had some looks from Power 4 schools. But he trusted Coach Kitley. He wanted to build something here. He came here. Great season. Yes, he needs to cut down on some of the turnovers, but 24 touchdowns towards the end of the season, that UConn game might have been the best game I've seen a quarterback play at FAU in history. We're talking about a guy throwing for 4 touchdowns and nearly 500 yards, 494. That was an amazing game. He really was able to find his rhythm towards the end of the season, and a lot of schools would be calling, but he decided to stay, so clap it up to Caden Veltkamp. Absolute legend he is. And not only that, he wants to make this place better. He tagged both Assad Wasim and Easton Messer under his post where he's returning. If you guys want to see a full breakdown of what this means for FAU, check out the video from yesterday that we posted where we talked about exactly what this means. And I don't want to, go over everything because it's not fair to the people who have already checked that out. But if you haven't seen it, I recommend you watching that first before watching the continuation of this video. Now, let's talk a little bit about what happened today. So, myself, I made a post on the Night Owls. The Night Owls, obviously, this is the podcast you're watching. We have an X account. And I stated that you make sure you go watch our video, in which I said, Caden Veltkamp is returning to FAU, plus FAU Albany recap. Watch below and then link the video in the comments. And basically, that was to try to get more outreach. You guys know, to try to get some people to get, watch the video, get outreach there, because we have a good following on X over at the Night Owls. And one of the FAU guys who's, in the FAU scene a lot, he isn't, the guy who's the most optimistic Owls fan. He's very pessimistic. He's usually looking at the negative side, which is fine because fan bases need to have positivity and negativity. And you have to be realistic. You have to, come to earth sometimes. You can't think your school is the best. And I fall victim to that a lot. I overrate FAU a lot of times. I remember the year after the Final Four, I said we were going to go 32-0 in basketball and be a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Do I regret saying that? No, because of how the year we played of the Final Four. Did we not do it? We didn't. And I remember that, and I have to come to earth sometimes. It's easy to look and think your school is the best. And Wise Owl does a good job of, making sure that we come back to earth. And I'll give him credit for that. But there's a lot of times where he's very negative, and it's just flat out hate. Now, a lot of the comments responding to Wise Owl are very negative, and I'll address that in a bit. But first, let me show you what unfolded. Let me screen share, pulling it up right here. So as you guys can see, Wise Owl stated, I'm thinking other programs are hesitant to show interest due to the injured shoulder. FAU is the, quote, any port in a storm, I guess. Kiffin would have kicked him to the curb. This is basically saying that, other schools weren't interested because of his injured shoulder, and that Kiffin, if Kiffin was at FAU, he wouldn't have started him. Now, that is obviously under our post right here, Night Owls, and Wise Owl, not the smartest of comments, because Caden Veltkamp, look at his stats. He was excellent. 24 touchdowns this season, multiple games with over 300 passing yards. So Caden took to X, and he replied to it, saying, told my agent in October I was coming back. Didn't get shocked because loyalty is rare in this business. I've been all in. Clap it up to Caden. Clap it up to Caden, man. Caden is an absolute menace for doing that. He is showing that he stands on business. That is great that Caden was able to reply to that, stand up for himself, because he could have went anywhere. And he said in October, ladies and gentlemen, that he wants to come back. Now, some of these replies, don't listen to that loser. We all blocked him for being a Marshall sleeper agent. Dude just doesn't want to see you next year in an Owls jersey. And yeah, some of these replies are accurate, but I do want to say to Wise Owl, don't get too caught up in this. These are in the moment reactions. Jack, me and Jack, I love Jack a lot. I think it is a harsh reply to say. Same with Drew. Drew's my guy. But you guys understand, Wise Owl does a good job of bringing us back to reality, but sometimes it just looks like he is a fan of another team and he's hating on us. He's literally clapping and he's sending posts of how Kitley went 3-8 this year against FBS teams, and that's not what we want to see. That's not encouraging. There's a point where you have to be realistic, but not negative. And Wise Owl is sometimes too negative. Now, Wise Owl, me and you have talked. I know who you are, and you're not a bad person. But I'm saying that, sometimes we have to be more positive. Now, Caden did an absolutely amazing job responding. Let's take a look at that one more time. Told my agent in October I was coming back. Didn't get shopped because loyalty is rare in this business. Loyalty, as I guys told you, that's literally what I said. It's very rare to be loyal, especially when you have the talent that Caden has. He's 6'6", has the Josh Allen frame. He's going to go to the NFL, whether he's drafted or he's going to sign to a team. Many scouts go to the games and watch him, and he's a special player. And you can't tell me that at least 7 Big 12 schools would have hit up his agent. At least 4 ACC schools would have hit up his agent, giving him the starting spot. Maybe a lower tier Big 10, a lower tier SEC school would have said, hey, Caden, we think you have a lot of potential. We want you to compete for that starting spot. But no, Caden is coming back and staying, and that is rare. And Caden stand on business, and this is what I love about Caden. Now, I don't understand some of these replies saying, don't listen to trolls, don't listen to this and that. No, I think it's great. I would have done the same thing, and that was absolutely tough by Caden. I love to see it, and I'm so lucky that Caden is going to be our QB1 next year. That is our guy, Caden Veltkamp. And Caden, keep doing what you're doing. I was critical of you, and I'll be the first to tell you I was critical of you during fall practice this year. But I continue to go to the practices throughout the entirety of the season. Those Tuesday practices open to the media on days in which, school wasn't going on. And I was able to see you progress. I was able to see you improve. And that UConn game really showed the bright spot. You were excellent in a plethora of games. That Tulsa game, what a first half. UAB, absolute domination. And I think you're going to put it all together next year. So keep the grind up. Let's put it all together. Let's win the conference next year, Caden. I know you're watching this. I know you, Caden, you are watching this. We're going to win the conference next year, Caden. So let's do it. Let's put that grind in. And as of right now, Easton Messer hasn't entered the portal. As of right now, Saad Wasim hasn't entered the portal. So if you get your receivers back, watch out for that FAU offense, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow, as always, daily podcast. We're going to talk a little bit about basketball. Huge week in basketball. At St. Mary's, can't even describe how big of a game that is. That's going to be a quad one game. St. Mary's is top 20 in the net rankings. And then you go to UCF. Let's go 1-1 through those two games. Heck, let's go 2-0. We'll be breaking that game down, roster preview, analytics, all of that tomorrow. But again, make sure you guys subscribe, hit a like button, and leave a comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially Caden Veltkamp. And we'll see y'all in the next one. As always, go Owls.